Hello everybody, welcome back to another video lesson. This is the e-learning space for MGM Higher Secondary School Bokaro and I am Mrs. Sadaf Noori. This is the second video for your reader lesson number 4, English class 8. In the previous video we started reading the chapter A Hasty Judgment. It is a short story that has been taken from the chatterbox. In the previous video we read and understood the lesson. In this video, we shall quickly recap the summary of the text. The short story is titled A Hasty Judgment. It is the story of a young boy, Jack, who confides in his friend Walter that he does not like his new stepmother. He had thought that his new mother would be a good person, but he realized that she tries to save money in little things. This upsets the boy and he holds a grudge against her. His friend comes to visit him for the summer holidays. He is treated warmly. They plan to go to a little expedition near the sea beach. The stepmother carries a picnic basket for the family to avoid spending money in a hotel. This irks Jack once again, and he hatches a plan to eat in the hotel as he had always wanted to. He holds the basket and when nobody is looking pretends to trip over a rock. The basket opens and the contents fall down the cliff. They end up eating in a hotel. The food there had very less option and was overpriced. Jack's father tells him that it was his new mother's idea to save some money and buy Jack a new phone as he had always wanted one. This surprises Jack and he confesses that his tripping over the rock was not an accident. He had deliberately done so. Although the parents are surprised, they help him understand the importance of not jumping to conclusions. He realizes his mistake and turns over a new leaf. After the summary, let us now discuss the elements in the story. First of all, the title. The story is titled A Hasty Judgment. It is the quick decision-making and unjustified conclusions drawn by Jack about his new mother that makes him act in a certain way. This impulsive characterization of his stepmother by him teaches him a lesson. He initially thought that his stepmother is a frugal-minded person who is saving money unnecessarily and he begins to hate her. But later on he realizes that he was wrong to judge her so quickly because she was actually trying to save some money to surprise him. What is the setting of the story? It is the time of summer holidays. Some part of the story is set in the household of the Trehanes, and most parts are set near the Castle Cove, a picnic area near the sea. The plot. What is the plot? Means what are the actions, the characters, what developments are taking place. So in short we can say the plot involves the trajectory of maturity of the main character, Jack. It revolves around the events that help him learn to weigh his decisions and not to judge too quickly. Who are the characters involved in the story? Jack Trehane, the main character or the protagonist, whose life experience is talked about in the story. Walter Howard, his friend who comes to spend the summer vacation with him. The other characters in the story are Mr. Trehane. He is the father of Jack. He is a loving father but also reprimands him when he learns that he is doing a mistake. He plays a crucial role in teaching Jack a life lesson. How? Because he breaks the surprise, he lets out the secret, and that is how Jack feels ashamed of his activities. Mrs. Trehane, she is a loving mother, she is very compassionate, she adores Jack. Although she is a stepmother, she loves to pamper him, she makes him good food and tries to save some money by cutting down the expenses. She is saving the money to give a new phone to Jack. In the characters, there are some tourists also, the names of whom are not mentioned. They are just side characters. Didactic. Didactic means the element of preaching a lesson. The story subtly teaches a lesson without too much of didactism. The author or the storytellers or the story writers do not emphasize on too much of a didactic tone, but the lesson is there in the story. Such a kind of story is also called a homily. A homily is a piece of writing that gives advice on the correct way to behave. The story of Jack is a lesson for all. It teaches that one should not be too quick to take a decision. One must give the person in front a chance to prove themselves before forming an idea about them. Often, when we jump to conclusions, it is a wrong decision. If you give something time, the true nature will always come out in proper light. That was the setting, plot, and the other elements of the story. Let us now come to the textual exercises. The first one, understand and answer. It is true and false. You're going to do it in the book itself. Walter and Jack were cousins. No, false. They were friends. Jack's opinion of his mother changed after she came to live with them. True. Earlier he had thought that his new mother is going to be a very good person, but after she got married to his father and she started saving money, although it was a misopinion, but yes, Jack thought that she had changed. Walter was disappointed about the food at Jack's home. No, Walter was extremely surprised. The meal was good, there was variety, and he thought that maybe his friend is talking about some other kind of stinginess. Mrs. Treherne packed a lunch she knew the boys would like. Yes, she loved the boys, she adored them, and she knew what they would like to eat, and hence she packed a good lunch for them. Exercise 2. Answer these questions. What did Jack dislike about his mother? Jack disliked the stinginess of his new mother. He did not like her habit of trying to save every little amount. Jack wanted to have lunch at a restaurant. How did he plan to get his way? Yes, Jack wanted to have lunch at a restaurant. So he schemed a plot. What did he do? He carried the basket. He loitered behind other people, and when nobody was looking, he pretended to have tripped over a rock and made the basket fall over the cliff, and all the food was destroyed. Was Jack's plan for a grand restaurant lunch successful? Why or why not? His plan to eat in a restaurant was successful, but a grand restaurant lunch, that plan was not successful, because although they were eating in a restaurant, the restaurant was already out of food. The food was also overpriced. Some tourists have eaten all the food. They had to satisfy themselves with a few cucumber sandwiches, some chips, and only cold drinks. And compared to this, their picnic basket was a grand affair. Did Jack regret what he had done? Give a reason for your answer. Yes. By the end of the story, when he learns why his parents had been saving, he regrets. He was blaming them for being frugal and stingy, but they were actually trying to surprise him with a new phone. This makes him regret not just throwing the basket, but also acting like an idiot by having a very wrong opinion about his stepmother. Give a reason. Yes, the reason is he had said openly, he confessed that he was not going to take the phone because he has done something wrong. He said sorry. He was apologetic. Coming to the next question, choose words from the box to add 4 synonyms each to the words given. This is a wonderful exercise, children. This is going to enhance your vocabulary. There are 3 words given here: nuisance, shrewd, and bewilderment. Nuisance means somebody who is a bothering person, somebody who is not very gay or happy company. Shrewd is somebody who is very cunning, and bewilderment means some kind of surprise or confusion. So let us find out 4 words for nuisance: bothersome, annoying, inconvenient, vexations. Let us find out 4 synonyms for shrewd: astute, clever, smart, sagacious. 4 words for bewilderment: confusion, dismay, perplexity, and chagrin. Come to think and appreciate. Plot is a literary term for the events in a story, particularly as they relate to one another in sequence through cause and effect. In the story you have just read, who is the main character or protagonist? Jack Terrihane. How does he do his feelings change through the story? We have to write the incidents. First, when his mother was not actually his mother, when they had not married. So that time he liked the woman. When she became his new mother and married his father, he started despising her because of her nature to save money. But then he learns a lesson by that she was actually trying to save for a surprise for him, and he turns over a new leaf. Does the story have a positive or a negative ending? The story definitely has a positive ending, because we come to learn that the boy has simply learnt his lesson. He wasn't going to take anything for granted. Coming to the second question, I discussed in the very beginning, a homily is a speech or a piece of writing giving advice on the correct way to behave. This story too has a strong message about correct behavior, because it causes one to think and choose between right and wrong behavior. So Jack Treherne learned his lesson and he confessed that he was wrong. This is a maturity on his part. He could have not told his parents that he had done what he had done purposely. But he learns his lesson and he realizes that one should not be too quick in judging. So this story is actually giving a piece of advice to all the readers through the story of Jack Treherne. Can you think of any other stories that encourage the reader to distinguish between right and wrong? There are fables, there are parables, these kinds of story, the moral lessons, the moral stories, they always teach a lesson at the end. Coming to the assignments, you have to read the lesson and learn the difficult words, learn the word meanings given in the glossary, complete the textual exercises in the reader book itself as discussed in this video lesson, and the question number 2 in Think and Appreciate given on page number 29, do it in your English copies, and based on your understanding of the lesson, give a pictorial representation of the lesson and color it. That's all for today, children. Whatever confusion you have regarding this chapter, we are going to deal it in the online classes. Thank you and take care.